So John Baum is out there right now. It's Temple and Tulsa tonight. Big game for the Temple Owls coming off a win over the Houston Cougars. John, it's Zach and Mike here on Temple University's campus. Thanks for a few minutes, and how are you?
Well, I'm doing great, Mike and Zach. Everything's going well here. It's nice when you win on the road.
It definitely is, and this team has just been so resilient this year. You really can't write the script for this team, and I feel like I say that each and every time I watch this Temple basketball team play, because it didn't look like they were going to win that Houston game. It didn't look like they were going to win that UConn game, and they find a way to do. What makes Fran's squad so resilient this year?
Well, I think they're doing some things. I thought about this, and I remember the 9-22 team. That team was a bad team, and my feeling is the old cliche, bad teams find a way to lose. And the other cliche is good teams find a way to win. So I would say this is a good team. They never get down on themselves. They believe in each other, and they know that if the game is close near the end, they're going to come out on top.
And this team is just such an enigma to me. Like we were mentioning, some of the crazy finishes that we've seen this year, whether it was that Josh Brown game-winning shot up against UConn, Daniel Dingle playing well up against UConn as well. What do you think the identity of this team is now that we got to see them for the majority of the season?
Well, I think the guys know that they can count on Quentin to score the basketball for the most part, and they can also count on Obi to score the basketball. But there's always that X factor that they don't really know who's going to be the X factor from game to game. Generally, it's Devin Coleman. He's been shooting well, but guys that you don't really expect to score the ball come in and playing a major part. Guys like Daniel Dingle and Mark Williams. As you know, both of those guys, if they didn't have big games recently, we would have lost those games when Daniel had a big game and Mark Williams had a big game. So the X factor is playing really a big part with this basketball team, and it's a good thing sometimes, but it's also a bad thing because you never know who's going to be the X factor, and also will the X factor appear.
And another guy that has also been major for this team has been Devin Coleman. I think they're 11-3 when Coleman comes off the bench, but even that game against Houston, it looked like he had nothing going for the team, and then boom, he hits a big three-point shot. I had an M1 play down the stretch, and he's one of those streaky but clutch players, Devin Coleman is, John.
Yeah, he is. He really is. And the thing about Devin, he's a veteran player. He's a senior. He's been through the system, and he understands his role. And he also has the confidence. When you have the confidence in your shot to know that you're a shooter and you can make that shot, you may miss 9, but if the game's on the line, you get that 10th shot, and the guys are relying upon you to score the ball, he's willing to take that shot, and he's been successful thus far.
We're talking to former Temple forward and current analyst for the Temple men's basketball team, and that's John Baum. And John, everyone knows the season has been a roller coaster of emotions. 11-3 in conference, 6-6 against out-of-conference opponents. Why has there been such a difference where Temple seems to be able to beat these conference opponents, especially top ones like Cincinnati, UConn, and now they're 1-0 against Tulsa and also 1-0 against SMU?
Well, I think sometimes these guys, and Mike, I think they sometimes get to the feeling that they understand that the conference games are critical. And this is with all programs. You know that you got to win your conference games. The non-conference games are important, but they give you a chance to get some exposure. But you must play your best in conference games. And they tend to maybe feel, well, we're going to see those guys again maybe at some point. So we want to establish something within the conference that we're a tough team to beat, especially at home. You want to have that identity at home that you're a team that you're going to come in our building and you better be ready to play. But for their ability, and I have to be honest with you guys, for their ability to beat UConn twice and they beat Cincinnati twice, that's kind of hard to believe. And you know what I'll say? You got to credit the coaching staff for those victories. I mean, they do such a Fran and this coaching staff. They do such a great job scouting the opponent and the players on the court to execute.
That is some high praise for the coaching staff. Let's actually put you back in the huddle for a second. Let's pretend you're on this coaching staff for the team this season. Let's just draw up a hypothetical situation. The score is tied inside 20 seconds. Temple has the ball. who are you drawing up a play for, especially considering Devin Coleman has that big three against Houston. Josh Brown had the game winner against UConn. You know what Quentin DeCozy is capable of. And as well, Obi Annaccioni just had a career high against Houston with 26 points.
Right. I have some nice weapons on my side. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to spread the floor. On one side, I'm going to have Devin Coleman. The other side, I'm going to have Obi. And then I'm going to give the ball to Josh Brown and say, Josh, you run the offense. We got 20 seconds. Don't take too long to get into the offense pretty quickly. And you want to take that first opportunity shot. And I want the ball to go over to either Devin Coleman or Obi. They're my number one and number two options. Sure, Quentin DeCozy is the guy that can break the defense down and maybe score. But generally, the teams are looking for DeCozy to drive and do something with the basketball. So I'm going to say, let's try to get Coleman as well as Obi out there on the wing by themselves. And one of those guys is going to be open because they're going to double the team, double the ball. So Josh is watching the play. He's going to get double teamed. Quentin's going to get double teamed. That's going to leave Devin Coleman or Obi wide open by themselves, and then you just got to find them.
We're spending a few more minutes with the Temple basketball radio color analyst, and that, of course, is John Baum. John, last year this team had a 2-game road trip. It was against SMU and Tulsa, and they didn't play well on those road trip. Losing both those games, didn't get much going offensively. They open up the road trip this time, this 2-game stretch, with a big win up against Houston, and we'll see how they fare up against Tulsa tonight. But how much of that road trip from last year do you think was in the team's head before they went on this road trip, especially knowing that, hey, those 2 games probably cost them in making the NCAA tournament last year?
Well, I think it played a big part. This last year, those guys, the key guys on the team, were juniors and sophomores. This year, they're another year older. They're veterans. You have a Devin Coleman and of course, Jalen Bond and Quentin DeCozy, just veteran players now. They're seniors. They've been through that. They know what it's like playing in Tulsa, know what it's like playing at Houston. It's a tough environment. And then, of course, Josh Brown is just a gamey guy. So I think that the difference between last year and this year, and, of course, the fact is this year we're in first place, undisputed first place. I'm not sure what the standings were last year when we went into that tough road trip. But this year we're no question undisputed first place. And I just feel that the guys have the confidence within themselves. And they also realize that Houston game was a critical game. You get beat in your home court by 27 points by Houston. You have something that's going to stay in your mind for a long time until you get to see that team again. So I think that played a major part for them to play a tough game against Houston. Now, Tulsa's a tough game at home. They only lost 3 games at home. So that's going to be a critical game as well. So I think the guys are just in a different mindset this year than they were last year.
So what do you think they have to do tonight to beat this Tulsa team? Because they have a really good backcourt, that Tulsa team, led by a pretty good coach as well.
Yeah, this Tulsa's they had 3 great guards, as you know. I mean, great guards, James Woodard, Shaq Harris, and Pat Burke. Those 3 guys, they just do a great job. They're the top 3 scorers on the team. This is a ball club that's averaging about 74 points per ball game. Those 3 guys represent about almost 60% of the scoring. It's like 43 points on the average per game. Those 3 guys represent. So you're looking at those 3 guys are critical. So you got to find a way to slow, I believe, at least one of those guys down. Pat Burke is just shooting the ball unbelievably with the 3 ball this season. I think the last time out he had something like 22 points or 26 points against Central Florida earlier this week. And so he has his confidence there. So what do you have to do? One, you want to stop penetration. You got to maintain court balance. You don't want to let this team get off and running because they like to score quickly in transition. So you got to maintain court balance and then play tough defense. You can't allow any one of those 3 guys to get an open look at the basket.
As we mentioned before, the Temple Owls are 17-9 overall on the season. They're facing a team that statistically on the season is actually better. They're 18-9 than Tulsa Golden Hurricane. This is the first of 4 remaining games in the regular season for Temple. Let's just say, John, they go undefeated in these remaining 4 games. How many conference tournament games do you think the Temple Owls need to win if they want a chance at the big dance?
Well, if they do go undefeated at this point, I know some of the experts, the so-called experts, have Temple already in the tournament, but I remember, as you remember, last year they were also had them in the tournament as well, which was a shame they didn't get in. But, I think if they have to just realize that this American Athletic Conference Championship Series is up for grabs for pretty much any one of four teams. So you just can't go into this thinking, well, okay, we won our last four, we're in first place. We might be able to make a cakewalk because we beat UConn twice, we beat Cincinnati twice. No, you have to put all that out of your mind and just look at it fresh and say this starts all over again. Because conference championships, it's a new day. So I think they're just got to take one game at a time, not get too far ahead of themselves, and just forget about the tournament, the NCAA tournament right now. You got to take one game at a time. You win that game and you're advanced, but you just can't get too far ahead of yourself.
And you know how it's changed now with social media and all the big TV shows where you have bracketology with Joe Lunardi and everyone's waiting like a month ago to see where his bracket projects. You around these guys on this team on a daily basis who are in similar age brackets as myself and Mike. Do you think these college kids, they look a little bit further ahead, or does Fran Dunphy's team really take it one game at a time?
Well, with social media, these kids can't help but look and see what they're saying about their team and what they're saying about other teams. And that's just the nature of social media today. But I think the coaching staff have been doing a great job, and they'll continue doing a great job because they're the guys that these guys are going to look up to. You have an Aaron McKee who's just a great player, NBA player, and just doing a great job as a coach. You look at Dwayne Killings and Sean Trice. That's a great, and Dave Duke, he's not officially as the assistant coach, but he plays a big part. And they have to keep these guys grounded. And I think they're doing a great job, and of course with Fran Dunphy. So, I think they're going to just, again, take one game at a time and just be confident. And they're reminded whenever the coaching staff feels they're slipping a little bit, maybe, as Coach Cheney would say, smelling themselves, then I think the coaching staff will get back in them and say, look, guys, you're not as good as you think. Let's remember, you got to win. And every team you face that is on the court, they're looking at beating Temple because Temple right now is number one in the conference.
By the way, how great was that scene at the Liacouras Center a weekend ago when John Chaney and Mark Macon came into the building and there was a standing ovation? No one gets a standing ovation like John Chaney here at Temple.
Oh, he's the best. No question about it. He's the best. And he gets that everywhere he goes, not just at Temple, everywhere he goes. John Chaney is a legend in this country and just a special guy. He's a genius. He knows the game, and it is very special. So when you have John Chaney walk in the building, and then, of course, Mark Macon, what can you say? Mark Macon, just a tremendous player, a real asset for the university. And those two guys, when they come in, along with the other guys, and also, I'll tell you guys, Zach and Mike, when you see Eddie Jones walk into the building and see a game, that brings back a lot of special memories for the Temple people.
Definitely does. Before we let you go, John Baum, last one that I have to ask you, just because you're with this team on a daily basis. We knew Obi was going to be a special player, and you knew teams were going to know what to expect from him, with especially the way that he ended last season. And he got off to a slow start this year, but now he's playing his best brand of basketball. What have you seen Obi do differently in this last stretch of 6 or 7 games that's getting him to this production level?
Well, it's all about confidence now. Early on, I do believe this. Some players coming into the sophomore year, whatever it is, whether it's basketball, baseball, whatever it is, that second season coming off of a pretty good first year, you sometimes feel, you feel the pressure. And I think Obi felt a little bit of the pressure. I think he thought he was expected to do maybe too much. So I think he settled down. We're mid-season. He got into mid-season, and he started to realize that, hey, I can do some things. The coaching staff believe in me. My teammates believe in me. So I don't have to feel that I got to score 20 points every game. So he relaxed. And then he also got confidence with his jump shot. And he's now, as you notice, he's putting the ball on the floor and driving to the basket, making it very difficult for the defense to defend him, because if he's going to shoot the jump shot, if he get up on him, he's going to go around him. So Obi's just playing just great basketball, and I'm not surprised, because I always thought that Obi is such a skilled player, and he's just a smart high IQ basketball type guy. So, I'm just really very happy with the play of Obi Jr.
John, you and Harry stay dry. We'll listen to you tonight, and thanks for a few minutes today.
Oh, sure. It's my pleasure, Mike and Zach. You guys take care, and thank you.